Chatham House, first of all?
Sure. So we're going to talk about COP, and we're going to talk about the Sustainable Development Goals. So COP's been going on for the past couple of weeks. We've talked about it quite extensively. Chatham House have talked about it here, but it's over all of the media, all of the big institutions, the Fabian Society. Everyone has something going on as it relates to COP. Well, what happened? So they've declared the beginning of the end of fossil fuels. They are calling for a tripling of renewable energy capacity. They want to double efficiency in energy production. And the bit that they're most excited about is the $700 billion loss and damage fund, which is going to be managed by the World Bank, who are going to charge a 24% management fee on those funds, which I think is quite remarkable, actually. One of the people that's been at COP and that I've been following for a little while now is Charlie Nunn, who is the group chief executive at Lloyds Banking Group, Lloyds being the biggest retail bank in the UK. They're also a strategic partner of the World Economic Forum, interestingly. Charlie Nunn has been at COP. He's been talking excitedly about the potential for collaboration between private and public sectors. As we know, the integration of public and private sector is the dictionary definition of fascism. So that's what Charlie Nunn's been there to talk about. He also, in that last slide, you could see referenced something called Gold's House, right? So he's been at Gold's House having these conversations. And Gold's House is a global initiative, a diverse community of business and political leaders, activists, NGOs, and entrepreneurs focused on the implementation of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. They run events globally in London, in New York, elsewhere. They have a big advisory board with a whole bunch of people from philanthropy, the world of business, big consulting firms. Steve Varley, the former UK chairman of EY, is on there. Lily Cole, who is a celeb model type person. There's quite a bit of that floating around this stuff as well. And most importantly, actually, based on what I want to talk about, is Matthew Freud, who actually, so just jump back there. You can see he's the fellow with the haircut a bit like mine and Mike's in the top right-hand corner of the screen. That's Matthew Freud. Now, he is related to this fellow. Well, he's actually related to Sigmund Freud, but he's also related to Edward Bernays, who is a pioneer of PR and propaganda. And Bernays is quoted here as saying, "We are dominated by a relatively small number of persons who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is they who pull the wires which control the public mind," right? That is PR. And Matthew Freud runs Freud's group. He's the chief executive and the founder of Freud's group. He works with the NHS. He worked on the launch of Terra Carta and Astra Carta. Debbie, you'll be excited about that. I've heard you talk about that a couple of times in the past. And he also, someone in the chat a moment ago talked about Bob Geldof. He works with Geldof. He worked on Live 8, and he's heavily involved with a whole bunch of things, very high profile stuff, very successful business. They've got about 500 people in the UK. It's a big, well-established communications firm. And as I say, they actually work with Global Goals. It's one of their clients. If you go to the impact section of the Freud's website, you can go there and have a look at this right now. This is an image that I took yesterday, featured front and center in the section relating to Gold's House. The big global initiative that they're running is a photo of this lady, Jane Goodall. And I'm just going to run a quick video of Jane Goodall speaking at the World Economic Forum so you can get a bit of an understanding of who she is and what she's about.
And then finally, we cannot hide away from human population growth because, you know, it underlies so many of the other problems. All these things we talk about wouldn't be a problem if there was the size of population that there was 500 years ago.
So 500 years ago, the global population was about 500 million people. So Jane Goodall is talking about a reduction of global population by about 90%. And she is being positioned front and center on the website of the organisation that is responsible for running Gates House, right, which is one of the main mechanisms by which the Sustainable Development Goals are being promoted and coordinated internationally, right? That's quite a remarkable thing to come across. Who else is involved in this? Well, Penny Mordaunt. Good old Penny, the leader of the House of Commons. This is one of my favourite tweets, actually, not just from Penny Mordaunt, but from anybody. It's from September 26, 2018, and it's Mordaunt talking about a great lunch on delivering the global goals, which are the SDGs, with Matthew Rycroft, who you spoke about, Mike, last week, who had a very poor grasp of his numbers in his position at the Home Office on immigration. Bill Gates, Melinda Gates, Mike Bloomberg, Stephen Fry. Who else is on there? The Obama Foundation. So I've spoken about the Obama Foundation quite recently. So they're obviously actively involved in the SDGs as well. Richard Curtis, the film producer.
Don't miss Emma Freud, of course.
Emma Freud, of course. Yeah, she's on there. Who's actually married to Richard Curtis, and the DFID, the Department for International Development, the UK government department. So this has infiltrated absolutely everything, right? This is throughout UK government, throughout all these international institutions. And I'm just going to wrap up by allowing Penny Mordaunt to give it a little account of herself based on what we've just looked at.
50% of people aged between 25 and 34 believed that regardless of who was in government, there is a single group of people who secretly control events and rule the world together. 50%. Now, being a government minister and having attended Davos once, I am clearly part of this group. And I am braced for a post-speech social media pylon as to why I am an apologist for a global Illuminati held bent on ending humanity as we know it.
There you go.
There you go. There you go. What more can we say? Well, look,